All right, so before we get started with this discussion, let me say that I know this is going to open up the floodwaters of hate, more than likely. Maybe not. Let's find out, shall we? With that introduction, as fun as it was, let's get into discussing Netflix's new series, aptly named on the from the aptly named book series, A Series of Unfortunate Events. Before I get into my analysis of it, I want to tell you my reactions to the promotional material, because I do watch promotional material that was released for the Series of Unfortunate Events. There was a fake. There's a fly flying around here and it's driving me nuts. Um, there was a fake trailer released for this that got me absolutely excited because I thought it was real, because I knew, at the time everybody knew it was coming. And so it was like, when are they going to drop the trailer? And then this thing dropped and it was absolutely amazing. Turned out it was fake. And and I'm like, oh, this is not a good sign. Spoiler warning. But I sat through the actual promotional material, and the feeling I got, and keep in mind, and I should put this as a caveat before we continue. I love this movie to death. Say what you will about this guy playing Count Olaf, but he is the best. Okay? To this day, he's still the best. And I have very high regards about this movie. Okay? So with that said, I looked at the trailers and I tried to keep it in mind, as I always do with everything, because this is a chance to get the entire series, because this movie only covered the first 3 books and it never continued because it didn't do well at the box office. I don't know why it didn't do well, because I love it, and I don't know why people didn't like it either, but I guess it's bugs gonna drive me nuts. But it is what it is. So I sent through the promotional material of the new Netflix series, and okay, I'm going to be honest. I'm going to be 100% honest, because I want y'all to know what I think. And I did not like what I was seeing, because it felt artificial. It felt like, because this movie was so close to the book. I know they cut out parts because they were trimming 3 books into 1 movie, and that's kind of hard to do. But what they did right, I felt. And it's kind of hard, this is probably the one time where I'm having trouble, and I had trouble because of what I saw on the promotional material, separating the two, and my desire to want to compare the two, even though it's a different medium and it's much more expansive than the new Netflix series than the old movie was. But as I saw it, I was like, this just feels artificial. This feels like they're trying to be Snicket, but they're not Snicket, which is kind of bad, because the script, the Netflix series, was written by Lemony Snicket himself, from what I can tell. Because I think that's what I saw on the credits for the series. But nevertheless, the series released, and I tried to sit through the first episode of the series. So with that, let's transition into my analysis. And I don't really analyze, and I was kind of debating on whether or not to put this here, because it's really not about a movie, but at the same time it is, because I'm comparing it to the old thing, which is 100 times better. But anyway, my analysis. The opening for this thing, and let me say, before I get into it, one of the things that this movie nailed, other than pretty much everything, was the music. Thomas Newman, I believe, yes, it was Thomas Newman, composed probably the most perfect score for this series that could have ever been composed. So now let's transition into my analysis. Keep in mind, and I really want you to sit through the whole analysis regardless of this, what I'm about to tell you. I could not get through the first episode. And here, I'm going to tell you why. The series opens up with a song, which I know is Neil Patrick Harris singing it. There's no hiding it. And the song was so wonky and so fake. And I'm like, why would you do this? The movie was so clever because it disguised itself, and then it revealed itself, and it was fun, it was clever. It started out with this song, doesn't fit in anything whatsoever. And I know I'm sounding like I'm a ranter and there's nothing good about this thing, but the song set the pace for what was about to go down, which was not good. So we get this song by Neil Patrick Harris, who's playing Count Olaf. We're going to get to him in a minute. As Count Olaf. And then we get what is probably the best part of, or one of the redeeming qualities of this series, which is Patrick Warburton playing Lemony Snicket. Now, let me say this, and I know people will disagree with me on this, and I think it's more about how he was used than necessarily how he fit into the character, but Jude Law blows Patrick Warburton out of the water as Lemony Snicket. Just saying. Now I know Patrick Warburton is closer, but his constant narration, although I like his voice, I think it's funny, it got distracting. But I really liked how he played Lemony Snicket. He was very dry and much like what I would assume Snicket to be. So I like that about it. I like that about the series. I'm going to smile a little bit. I really liked that. I really liked him playing Daniel Handler, Lemony Snicket, and I think that he did a good job. Then we get introduced to Mr. Poe and his family, which his family was not in the movie, but Mr. Poe was. And as soon as he stepped on the camera, I realized more so than I did with the opening crooning by Barney from How I Met Your Mother, that we're in for a not so good ride, and I may not be on it by the time this ends. Because the guy walks up, and I have no problem, let me say this before I get into what I'm about to say. I have no problem with recasting characters in different ethnicities than what was originally there. Now I'm talking about the guy that they got to play was black, but this has nothing to do with that, okay? Because if he would have done a good job, I wouldn't have said anything. But the guy, it was like it was like watching a bad kid's play that is put together, really rushed, and has no production value whatsoever. That's what sitting through these performances was like. The only performance other than Patrick Warburton's that I thought was enjoyable was Klaus. Sonny was, I don't know, Sonny, they treated Sonny weird because he had her with a freaking rock. And she's like, and all you see is the back of her head. And I'm like, what is this, The Exorcist? What in the world am I watching? So Sonny, I didn't think they did well at all. But Violet and Klaus, I thought they did a really good job. And Klaus, I think, was actually better. And this was the only thing I think was better than the movie. Klaus in the series was better than Klaus in the movie because he wore the glasses and he felt nerdier. Whereas Liam Aiken, who played him in the original movie, was good. Don't get me wrong, he was good Klaus. But he kind of felt like, I'm the one that's going to take charge here, which, if you've read the books, you know it's Violet who's the eldest, so she's the one that takes charge, and so there we go. So Violet I thought was all right. I like Emily Browning more, just because I like Emily Browning, period. Klaus, I thought was fantastic. Show. So we get introduced to Mr. Poe and his family, and I don't remember. Maybe it's because I don't remember it right. You can correct me down in the comments. I don't remember the mother, the wife of Mr. Poe, the mother of Albert and whatever the heck the other kid's name is. Be so mean. You know, I remember them being in the books and in the movie, because we only saw Mr. Poe, but even he was a little bit more sympathetic. Whereas in the Netflix series, he's drained of all character. They both are. And they're just like these really dry, but not in a good way, mean-spirited people. And I don't remember them being that way. And it really rubbed me the wrong way, especially the wife. I was like, get off the camera. If there's anybody here that's going to die in this series of unfortunate events, I hope it's you, and I hope it's now. Which is terrible for me to say, but at the same time, I'm having to sit through this. And so I didn't like them a lot at all. Now, Albert and the other brother, I thought they were perfectly characterized because they were supposed to be kind of, you know, these mean-spirited, but it was funny, you know. And so I thought it was better done. It was more well done. So got through that, and of course now we're going to be introduced to the closest living relative by distance, not by relation, Count Olaf. And my cousin told me before I watched this to give him a chance. I tried. I really did. But even he told me, because he saw it before I did. He turned to me and he said, Roberto, you were right. And I said, about what? And he's like, the whole series of unfortunate events is garbage. And especially Count Olaf. And I was like, I called it. And I wanted to see it for myself, and that's why I did watch it and why I'm giving this analysis. But it enters Neil Patrick Harris playing Count Olaf, because it wasn't Count Olaf. This is Count Olaf. This was this guy. Say what you will about Jim Carrey. This was a role he was born to play. And I could not see Jim Carrey anymore. I saw Count Olaf. Whereas Neil Patrick Harris, I saw Neil Patrick Harris playing Count Olaf. He didn't look like a real person. He looks real. He looks like... It doesn't feel like makeup. And it felt like makeup. And I was like, you're ruining one of the biggest villains in all of literary history that I know of. I know. And that's kind of an over-exaggeration. But to me, growing up, this was the dude. And I'm sitting here watching him ruined by Barney from How I Met Your Mother. And it upset me. So, we're introduced, and it is... I know that Jim Carrey's introduction was wonky, but it was menacing enough to where... I don't know, it was unsettling, but it was a good unsettling. This was unsettling in that it was just awful. And I wanted to be like, stop! I'm not watching this anymore. But I kept going. And I don't know, it felt like... I'm telling you, it felt like a badly put together play. Because then, well, really before Count Olaf gets introduced, we're Justice I Can't Act Strauss. She did all these wonky like, I don't know what you're doing. I don't know what's going on. I don't know what's going, and I'm like, does anybody here have any kind of subtlety whatsoever? Oh, I don't know what's going on here. That was her acting level. The entire time. Mm-hmm. And then they put Justice Strauss and Count Olaf in a scene together. And it was at this moment that I turned off the series. Because I felt like the books that I loved, if I kept watching, and the series only goes to a miserable mill. I didn't even get halfway through a bad beginning because it was a terrible beginning, and not in a good, and not in the way that you're marketed by Snicket. This series covers only the first 4 books, but I'll be really surprised if it gets renewed because like I said, it's a series of unfortunate events. This is one of my favorite book series growing up. I wanted this to be good, but it wasn't good, and I could sense it coming. It was like that storm that you see afar off, and you're not, I gotta get out of the rain. I gotta get out of the rain. It's gonna pour. It's gonna pour. It's gonna pour. But the optimist inside you is like, yeah, I'll wait. Let's see what happens. No, it was awful. And I don't recommend this to anybody unless, I don't know, you're some kind of, I don't even know. Those warnings that you get on the back, of the books, where it's meant to entice you, but it's off-putting, but it's meant to entice you. This is like if you would have said, "Here is a series that was badly put together. It looks like a children's play with bad production value, well, no production value, and really, really, really corny actors acting." That's what should have been the synopsis of this series. So I'm gonna stop ranting here because I like to be, and I want to talk to you about this. Let's do a little compare and contrast. If you haven't seen this, get it. Get it, and even if you want to watch the Netflix series first, by all means, go watch the Netflix series first. Watch the first 3 episodes, or the first 6 episodes that I believe covered the first 3 books in the Netflix show. I didn't even get that far, so I don't know. And then go find this on Amazon, get it primed to you, get it shipped to you, and watch this. And you tell me which is the superior film and superior adaptation. That's it. That's all I got. I was hesitant about doing this because of course, I didn't even watch the first episode, but I couldn't, and I wanted y'all to know why. And I wanted to, if you haven't seen it yet, watch at your own risk, because I have a feeling you're not going to like it. This has been Movie Critic Rob with the Movie Channel, and as always, I'm signing off.